The average NFL player is 6'2", 245 pounds. But these short kings, not even close. These are the 10 shortest players in NFL history. Starting with number 10, Maurice JonesDrew, who didn't look like your typical NFL running back. But once the ball was in his hands, it didn't matter, because he was built like a human bowling ball at 210 pounds. MJD had the perfect blend of speed, power, and balance to bulldoze through defenders and outrun anyone in the open field. So despite standing at 5'7", he was a 3-time Pro Bowler, led the NFL in rushing in 2011 with 1,606 yards, and spent years as one of the league's most dominant backs. And if you don't believe us, just ask Sean Merriman, the 6'4", 260-pound linebacker that MJD absolutely flattened.
When I tell you it felt like a dynamite went off like under my face mask, like I didn't see him.
But JonesDrew wasn't the only 5'7" player to leave his mark. Mark McMillan was an undersized cornerback who didn't let his size stop him from shutting down receivers. Andrew Hawkins used his lightning-fast speed to carve out a solid career as a wide receiver, leading the Browns in receiving yards in 2014. And even today, Devin Singletary and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are out there carrying on the 5'7" legacy in the NFL, proving that sometimes good things really do come in small packages. Now, number 9 was more than just a short NFL player. Jakeem Grant was one of the fastest players ever. At his Texas Tech Pro Day, scouts clocked him running a 40 time in the 4.1s. With that speed, insane agility, and ankle-breaking footwork, Grant was a nightmare for defenders. And when he got the ball in space, it was basically game over. He played wide receiver, but his real talent was on special teams. Over his career, Grant became one of the league's most feared return men, scoring 7 career return touchdowns, 5 on punts and 2 on kickoff.
He's a guy that you fear. I mean, he's a guy that obviously has speed, first step quickness, can make you miss, can use all field zones.
His 97-yard punt return in 2021 remains one of the longest in NFL history, and his 102-yard kickoff return against the Titans showcased his crazy speed, clocking in at 20.93 miles per hour. In 2021, he was also named a Pro Bowler and a first-team All-Pro, cementing his status as more than a 5'6" NFL player, but as one of the best returners of his generation. Yeah, he may have been one of the smallest guys on the field, but every time he touched the ball, he was the most dangerous. And speaking of a dangerous return specialist, next we have the 5'6" Tariq Cohen. Coming out of North Carolina A&T, an HBCU not normally known for producing much NFL talent, Cohen was the very definition of an underdog. Despite being the smallest player on the field, Cohen put up video game numbers in college, rushing for 5,619 yards and 56 total touchdowns, while averaging over 7 yards per carry. So in 2017, the Chicago Bears took a chance on him in the 4th round. In his NFL debut, he racked up 113 total yards and a touchdown, giving Bears a glimpse of what was to come. The Bears used him everywhere, lining up in the backfield as a running back, splitting out wide as a receiver, and even returning punts and kickoffs on special teams. Heck, he could even throw the ball.
Cohen's going to throw! Into the end zone! Touchdown!
In 2018, he had his breakout season, racking up 1,169 all-purpose yards and 8 total touchdowns, while leading all NFL running backs with 725 receiving yards, earning him a Pro Bowl selection and first-team All-Pro honors as a returner. Cohen was on track to be a Bears legend, but in 2020, tragedy struck. He tore his ACL, MCL, and suffered a fractured tibia, all on the same play. Despite multiple comeback attempts, he never returned to an NFL field. Coming in at number 7 is the 5'6", 185-pound running back J.J. Taylor. He ran with power, speed, and vision. Everything you'd want in a running back, just in a smaller package. Despite his college success, NFL teams were hesitant to take a chance on the undersized running back, so Taylor went undrafted in 2020. But if there's one team that has never had a problem with taking a chance on written-off skill players, it's the New England Patriots. So Taylor signed with the Pats as a free agent, and in his NFL debut, he flashed his potential, rushing for 28 yards and a touchdown on just 4 carries. However, Taylor spent 3 seasons bouncing between the Patriots' active roster and practice squad, never quite carving out a full-time role in their crowded backfield.
You can model yourself after dudes that have similarities, but I mean, there's not many backs that are small in the league right now.
Now with the Houston Texans, Taylor is fighting for a chance to prove himself, hoping to lock in a bigger role and showcase the skills that made him a fan favorite. But off the field, Taylor's also a backup for the Oxygen Rocket League esports team. So I guess you could call him a 2-sport athlete. Next up is Jquiz Rogers. Also standing at 5'6" and 205 pounds, Rogers ran like he was twice his size, bouncing off defenders, lowering his shoulder, and refusing to go down without a fight. Jquiz first made a name for himself at Oregon State, while his 5'7" older brother James James Rogers was a receiver torching corners, Jquiz was in the backfield, plowing straight through them. So in 2011, he was drafted in the 5th round by the Atlanta Falcons.
A dream come true, something you've been working for your whole life, and actually just to get picked, it was a great moment for me.
But you could say his game fell short, logging only 5 starts in his first 5 seasons. It wasn't until 2016 with the Tampa Bay Bucks that Rogers got his big chance, when injuries forced him into the starting role. People thought he'd get swallowed up by NFL defenses, but he flipped the script, bulldozing his way to back-to-back 100-yard games and proving that he belonged in a league full of giants. Rogers may not have been the biggest, fastest, or most hyped player in the NFL, but he was the very definition of underrated, and he managed to stick around the league for a respectable 8-year career. But if there's one player who redefined what a small running back could do, it was Darren Sproul. At Kansas State in 2003, he rushed for an absurd 1,986 yards, leading the nation. But even with how incredible he was in college, NFL teams hesitated. Sproul was laughed at when he competed at the Combine. A 5'6" running back, there was no way that he would last very long in the NFL. And that skepticism dropped him to the 4th round of the 2005 NFL Draft, where the San Diego Chargers took a chance on him. And to add insult to injury, he was later told that if he came in at 5'9" or even 5'8", he would have been a 1st-round pick. So he set off on a mission, prove everyone wrong.
What kept me going was they kept on saying I was too small.
And he was a nightmare for defenses because he could do everything. He'd line up as a running back, a receiver, a return man. Wherever you put him, he made plays. He was too fast for linebackers, too shifty for defensive backs, and too smart to take big hits.
Have him on our side is unreal. The dude is a monster.
In 2008, he became the first player in NFL playoff history to rack up over 300 all-purpose yards in a single game, single-handedly carrying the Chargers to a win over the Colts. But that was just the beginning, because in 2011, after signing with the New Orleans Saints, Sproul set an NFL record with 2,696 all-purpose yards, the most by any player in a single season. In 2017, after joining the Philadelphia Eagles, he helped the team on their historic run to Super Bowl 52. Unfortunately, an injury kept him from playing in the big game, but his impact on the team was undeniable. And when the Eagles finally hoisted the Lombardi Trophy, Sproul was right there, celebrating as a champion. By the time he retired, he'd racked up over 19,000 all-purpose yards, 3 Pro Bowl selections, and a Super Bowl ring, all while defying the odds of what a small guy could do. People worried that Darren Sproul wouldn't last very long in the NFL because of his size, but he shattered that idea. While the average NFL running back's career is just under 3 seasons, Sproul played for 15. But if Darren Sproul was a human cheat code, the 5'5" Mack Heron was a glitch in the system. And for him, we need to take a trip back to the 1970s. Heron's journey to the NFL also started in Kansas State, but it took an unexpected turn when he went to the Canadian Football League. There, he piled up nearly 2,000 all-purpose yards, proving he was too talented to be ignored. So the New England Patriots finally took a chance on the undersized back in 1973, and he made sure they never regretted it. By 1974, Heron was one of the most dangerous weapons in the entire league. That season, he racked up 2,444 all-purpose yards, setting an NFL record at the time. His impact was so massive that he earned the nickname Mini Mac. But there was nothing small about the way he played. He finished the 74 season 3rd in the league in total yards, trailing only 2 absolute legends, O.J. Simpson and Franco Harris. But as explosive as he was on the field, his career was just as wild off it. Legal troubles and substance abuse issues cut his NFL career short, and after just 3 seasons, he was out of the league. Instead of becoming an all-time great, Heron went down as one of the biggest what-ifs in NFL history. Fast forward all the way to the present day, and you have another 5'5" running back, Duce Vaughn. And oddly enough, his football journey also took off at Kansas State. Over 3 seasons with the Wildcats, he piled up nearly 4,900 yards from scrimmage and 47 touchdowns, dominating week after week. But even now, in 2025, the NFL has never been kind to undersized running backs. Teams saw his highlights, but they also saw his height, and that was enough for most of them to pass. He fell all the way to the 6th round of the 2023 NFL Draft, before finally the Dallas Cowboys took a chance on him. And what made his draft moment extra special was that his father worked as a scout for the Cowboys.
He's the hardest worker I know. I just happen to be his dad.
And he got to be the one who called his son to tell him that he'd been drafted.
Hey, buddy. How's it going? Hey, it's going good. This is Dad. My phone wasn't working. Look here, man. You want to come to work with me next week? I wouldn't mind that at all.
And then, in his first NFL preseason game, he stole the show. He pulled off highlight reel runs, broke ankles, and made defenders look foolish, instantly becoming a fan favorite. Now with the Cowboys, Vaughn is fighting for every carry, every rep, every chance to prove himself, just like he's done his whole life. And being just 23, Vaughn certainly still has a chance to make a name for himself. So, about the player coming in at number 2, speed. That's the first, second, and third thing you need to know about Trendan Holiday. At just 5'5", he's one of the smallest players in NFL history, but he was also one of the fastest human beings to ever step foot on a football field. Before football, Holiday was already a track legend. In 2008, he reached the semifinals of the U.S. Olympic trials for the 100-meter dash, and he won the 2009 NCAA men's 100-meter dash with a time of 10.01 seconds. However, while most guys with that kind of speed would stick to the track, Holiday really wanted to play football. And despite his size, he carved out a role as a return specialist. And as you can imagine, if you even gave him a sliver of space, he was gone.
Sometimes he's in there, he's a decoy, and the defense gets fooled by it, and then, they give him the ball, the defense don't know what to expect. I mean, he's the fastest person I've seen in pads.
But after being drafted by the Houston Texans in 2010, he bounced around the league. Then, in 2012, while playing for the Broncos, he delivered one of the greatest playoff performances ever by a returner. Against the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC divisional round, Holiday took a punt return 90 yards to the house, and then later returned a kickoff 104 yards for another touchdown, becoming the first player in NFL history to return a punt and a kickoff for touchdowns in the same playoff game. But because Holiday was never really able to establish himself as a viable receiver or running back, his role was limited to just special teams. So eventually, teams moved on, and after just 4 seasons, his NFL career was over. And finally, we've reached number 1. So far, the shortest guy has been 5'5", and in a physical game like football, you wouldn't think a player could get much shorter than that, right? Wrong. 5'1". And that's not just short for the NFL, that's short for everything. In fact, it's just 3 inches away from being medically defined as dwarfism. But Jack "Soupy" Shapiro wasn't about to let size stop him. He played football at Gallaudet University and later at New York University, proving he could hang with bigger players. But the NFL? That was a different world. It was 1929 when Shapiro got his shot with the Staten Island Stapletons, an actual NFL team back in the league's early days. But he played just 1 game, lining up in the backfield against the Minneapolis Red Jackets. And while his NFL career was short, his legacy is forever. In 1999, the Pro Football Hall of Fame officially recognized him as the shortest player in league history, the NFL's shortest short king. If you enjoyed this video, stick with Blitz, subscribe, and check out some of our other content right here.